Travis Wayne Goodsell. Mormons, you don't know me, so you don't trust me, you don't like me, you don't believe me, and so you respond accordingly, because I don't fit your belief system. I understand that. But you do not understand. There has been a traditional cultural trend in the church to think that if a person is in a higher level of administrative authority, that therefore they are smarter in the gospel and the knowledge of the church and doctrinal theological questions. No. I've had well, he was technically a branch president of the older singles ward, who confessed when we were cleaning the chapel. Well, it was actually out in the hall on the couch when moving that out and vacuuming. Confessed that he'd never even read the Book of Mormon, and that, referring to me, you intellectuals, dear God, reading the Book of Mormon makes me an intellectual, huh? And if you don't know, intellectuals are a bad thing in the church, as the church went through an anti-intellectual movement because of all the church history that was being uncovered. No, the real intelligent Mormons, or the more intelligent Mormons, are those who make your manuals, who do the footnotes in the scriptures, topical guide, Bible dictionary, guide to the scriptures. And again, you do not know me. You do not know how elevated I was in the church, not in administration. And so, the last 4 years, I've been doing videos warning that we're in the latter days, finally. After almost 2 centuries, well, is it 2 centuries? We had the bicentennial last year of when Joseph Smith said he had the first vision. And so, from 2017, we began the latter days, officially. Now, I know we've been taught that, it's always the latter days since Joseph Smith. Well, no, things are going to pick up right at the end. That's the latter days. And I've been going over with you the prophecies from Scripture, getting into the Greek, getting into the Hebrew, getting into the Egyptian. I've been going over with you the signs in the heavens in advance, and as they happen, I've been going over with you the signs on earth. Magna earthquake. The one we just had, the flood. That's from Scripture. That was prophesied. Signs on the earth in the latter days. I've been going over patterns with the signs in the heavens. How the lunar eclipses correspond with deaths of prophets of our church. And despite all this, you still do not believe. You'd rather trust other Mormons of lower intellectual stature than me. Because it makes you feel good, or it's faith promoting. And you do not see that the church is purging church history. Is it not faith promoting? Church history, not faith promoting. Wow. And so, when the church first released the General Handbook of Instructions to the public for all Mormons to have, and those who aren't even Mormon, they can go to the website, download it. And I did the videos saying, uh-oh, the prophets are implementing their backup plan. They're preparing for a potential fleeing of the country, or some kind of destruction that'll prevent them from leading the church, because that's the only reason for bringing them out. It was coveted for leadership only. We as regular members were left in the dark about whether you could be gay and Mormon, for example. Those questions are now released to the public, those answers. And under Nelson, as they've released them to the public, they keep getting changed. Numerous changes with corrections, additions have been made since Nelson. It has never had that many changes. Prior to any changes, there would be an internal church email to the stake presidents and bishops, or elders, quorum presidents, depending on who the ranking was required, for whatever needed to be changed. And then after so many, usually about 10 years, 20 years, a new handbook was made. And so, yeah, today, the church has done it again. They've updated, we'll call it, the General Handbook of Instructions. And it's mostly for councils. They've been doing a council thing on the church news. I'm sure if you're a faithful Mormon, you've been faithfully following the church news, right? Because church is true, right? And you want to get your source from truth, right? So you know all of this. And if you're unfamiliar with the communications that the prophets and I have, because you don't believe, you don't know me, and so I'm the stranger danger, and the prophets are true, and they would never stoop to me. Fine. But you're MAGA. I'm willing to bet you're MAGA. When is Trump taking over the presidency again? Yeah, Pill Guy says August 13th. Next Friday the 13th. Do you think that Trump is just going to waltz right in? Step aside, Biden, I'm now the president. Really? Do you think that there is going to be no bloodshed? Nobody has ever to this day told Trump to his face he lost the election. He still believes he's the rightful president. And apparently, according to some congressmen who announced it, said that he's meeting with his cabinet. And so if it's obviously not going to be a peaceful transition of authority. Biden's the president. He's not stepping down. He rightfully won, even though you disagree. It required a type of situation like January 6th. We all know this. The deep state Dems, the liberal press, as you call them, are thinking Trump is crazy and delusional, that it's not going to happen, and it won't if it's going to be a peaceful transition. Trump goes to Washington, D.C., knocks on the gates and says, "Hey, I'm here to take over now. Lock Biden up." Nobody's going to listen to him. And so it can't be on that day, per se. I'd be surprised if they had orchestrated the coup for a single day, just like January 6th. But, yeah. If you do not understand what needs to happen in order for Trump to get his wish or his beliefs confirmed, as well as all MAGA, that there has to be war, a civil war. We're technically already in it. It's just not the kind that was played out in the Civil War that we first had. And so now are you starting to get an idea of this backup plan that the prophets are preparing for? In the releasing today of the latest updates with the council inclusion that they've been prepping for a couple weeks now. So whether you believe me or whether you believe the prophets, download your General Handbook of Instructions now before it's too late. Because, oh no, what are you going to do when there's no leadership to lead the church? How are you going to have your little congregations? Whether it's in the caves of the Utah mountains or in the ashes of the destroyed Utah in America, how are you going to know who's the one that ordains certain things? What are the wording for the ordinations? Do you know that? Do you know that it's by the authority, not the power? That's the biggest error in the church, among the priesthood. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it out there. You're obviously not going to believe me, but, the prophets have made it available. You trust the prophets, don't you?